What up, y'all? It's your guy Dawson from D&D TV. Thank you for rating, commenting, and subscribing. Everybody who's donated, those of y'all who will, you know I appreciate it. Also, go over to my other YouTube channel, Dawson Speak. Make sure you subscribe over there. All right, y'all, let's talk about it. I was getting ready to do a whole nother video. It wasn't even going to be on this topic, but I ran across this article, and I've read this article, I think a couple years ago. And it's an article from the Christian Post, actually with iPost, and it talks about, it says, is there a unspoken drug culture looming within the body of Christ? And it talks about three men. Zach Timms talks about the passing of Zachary Timms. It talks about George Bloomer, and it also talks about one of my bishops who I've learned from and listened to his messages and still have some of his CDs. I still got CDs of this man's messages. Bishop Veron Ash. And the writer of this article goes on to talk about how he felt when he heard about the passing of Pastor Zachary Timms, who passed away on August 15, 2011. And he talked about a few weeks later from that date, how he, I guess Bishop Bloomer went on television and talked about how he was addicted to drugs. And I've heard him tell this testimony, how he used to shoot up in his big toe just before he would go out and preach. And I remember on one broadcast, he kind of told the church, he was like, where were the prophets that no one, could see what I was doing? He was like, we have these prophets in the church, but no one could see that before I was going out to preach, I was shooting up in my big toe. And then he went on to talk about Bishop Veron Ash in this article, and how Bishop Veron Ash in 2004 was arrested for cocaine possession. And I knew about that charge after Bishop Veron Ash had passed away, because that's when I guess I was Googling his name and I saw that his mugshot. And I looked at that and I saw that around about that time, 2002, 2004 is when I got introduced to Bishop Veron Ash's ministry. And I remember pondering and thinking like, wow, during that time, this dynamic man was, battling substance abuse, and probably up into his death from other stuff I'm reading. I don't know. But the question that I really want to ask, or really just want to have this conversation, y'all put it in the comment section. Why is the church quiet on issues that affects its congregants, its pastors? Why are people in the church silent on issues of rape, on issues of adultery, on issues of substance abuse, sex addiction, domestic violence? No one speaks out. Since the passing of Pastor Zachary Timms, since Bishop Veron Ash passed in 2000, I think it was 2014, and George Bloomer is still alive, you hear him testify here and there. But when it comes to the issue of substance abuse, you don't hear people talking about it. And many of us know people who are in churches who are dealing with this. Yeah, I'll do the stories on, somebody was raped, somebody was molested, somebody cheated, somebody did this, all this kind of stuff. But what about the people who are abusing drugs? What about the people who are in the church who are addicted to prescription medication? And the church's one-stop shop is come up to the altar, let us pray, let us lay hands on you, and it's going to happen miraculously right here. And it may. I'm not saying it won't, but I'm telling you this. God created people, therapists. God created psychiatrists, people who work in the drug rehabilitation center. God have them there for a reason. So if people can't get it at the one-stop shop that you call the church or the hospital, you need to send them to other places where people who are trained to deal with people with substance abuse, with sex addiction, with issues with domestic violence, all that kind of stuff. These pedophiles that we have in the church. Go see a psychiatrist. If you're a person who you have issues with liking little children, pedophilia, go see a psychiatrist, because in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the DSM-5, pedophilia is termed pedophilic disorder. You can get treated for that or get the help you need. Go see a psychiatrist. And instead of the church hushing down sexual molestation and rape and all of this stuff that goes on in the church, they need to point these people to psychiatrists, to people outside of the church who can help them. But we've been taught, oh, God gonna do it. This is Holy Ghost headquarters. And in your headquarters, you got people who are addicted to drugs, people who are molesting people, people who are cheating on their wife, people who are having same-sex affairs, people who are sex addicts, people who are married just cheating with any and everybody. A lady hit me up on my YouTube show a while ago, and I think it was on the video of the pastor who was luring those men in jail, in prison or something like that. And she said, Dawson, you telling the truth. She said, I'm from San Francisco. And I was like, uh-oh, I know it ain't gonna be nothing good if it's coming from San Francisco. She was like, Dawson, I'm from San Francisco, and I attend a popular church here in San Francisco. And she's like, I live right next to this bathhouse. She was like, I live next to this bathhouse. And she was like, the bathhouse, she was like, it's supposed to be a gay bathhouse. She was like, but I don't even know, because I see all these men from the church going to the bathhouse. I can see them right out my window. And she said, I saw one of the musicians from this popular church I go to the bathhouse. And I'm like, man, you know, people who, and she was like, these men are married. Addiction, sex addiction with anybody and anything. The church is silent on so many of these issues, man. And then people get mad at me because I do my show. People get mad at me because I tell the truth. Look, I don't have no ties to the church. I ain't got no ties to no gospel people. So I don't have no strings on me like a puppet so they can say, talk about this issue, talk about that issue. I'm going to talk about what I want to on the YouTube show I created. And that's why y'all came here, because I could do it freely. Now, I don't know them people in the gospel industry. And honestly, the way they live and the way they act out and how they live one way and do another thing, I don't want nothing to do with none of them. You tell us one thing in your singing and your preaching, but you live totally different. How you gonna draw the people who are so-called in the world in when you basically are in the world yourself? You just a motivational speaker. And as I look at the death of Zach Timms, of Bron Ash, it really, like that back in, it still does hurt. It still does hurt, because I tell you, anytime I go to New York, and I was just in New York a couple months ago with some friends, and for the first time, I always say when I go to in the city or whatnot, you know, I'm never staying at the W Hotel because Zach died there. I've said that since he's passed away, and I never have. And just this couple of months ago, when I went there, me and my friend, we were downtown and we passed by it. I was like, wow. I was like, look what we're in front of. And she was like, what? I'm like, we're in front of the W Hotel. And I told her about, you know, she knew about the situation. She was like, oh, this was where, I was like, yeah. And I was like, it was just unreal, man. Because I look at people like pastors in the church, and I know a lot of y'all worship y'all pastors. But when the pastor has issues, who does the pastor talk to? And is it pride? Is it ego that keeps them from going to get the help they need? Who are they accountable to? That's what I want to know. Who are these people accountable to? And if you dealing with something in the church, as I told y'all before on this show, if you having some mental health issues, you feeling suicidal, and you don't went up for prayer and all this mess, and it's just not happening for you, go get help. Call the suicide hotline. Go check yourself into crisis. Go find some help. Go get some help. Go find a therapist till you find the right one. I'm not going to tell you, oh, you don't need therapy. God, all you, no. You better go get the help you need. If you find yourself every time you get paid, you pay all your bills, you're a functioning drug addict, but you still stop over here to pick up a little Molly, you stop over here to get your crystal meth, you stop over here to get your coke. Come on, you know what you do. And some people around you know what you do. And some of us, we enable people. Instead of telling them, you may have to step down for a while. You may have to take a couple of months off from being a pastor, but you got to get the help you need. You may have to come off of the evangelism field to get the help you need. You may not be able to tour this year to get the help you need because your life is more important to me. You ain't gonna have to worry about touring if you're dead. And I'm not trying to be mean. It's the truth. We have lost so many people. And many times they do have people around them who see this. And like I said, people enable this mess to keep going on. And as I was reading more on Bishop Varon Ash, there were people who were saying, you know, he didn't really die of cancer. He died of this. And you know how people get when people die, you don't know what to believe. All you know is the man's not here. And I ain't going to do nothing to taint his legacy because, I mean, the man, he was an awesome preacher, no matter what he did. But I just wish that they would have gotten the help they needed. And I wish that anybody who listens to this video, those of you all who are struggling with addictions, who have these urges and stuff to go, get the help you need. You know what you do. Jesus, you know what you do. You know what you do. When I get stuff from women and men telling me they're struggling with stuff, a man hit me up saying he's still struggling because he experienced incest in his family and being raped and he's old and all this stuff don't go away. People are in churches dealing with this. And no matter how many praise breaks y'all have, y'all need to have a think break. You've been jumping around too much. Nobody's stopping to think, to process something. They just get the tamarines going and the drums going and the music going. It's like you're a junkie already, just getting high off of music. You hyped up, but when you get home, you don't know how to live. You get home, you put on the whole illusion. I'm married to my wife. We have a lovely family. But when you leave, hey, honey, I'm going to Walmart. You going to shoot up. You going to pop mollies. You going to snort some coke. Come on, man. And I know for people who are addicted to anything, it is hard, but I'm dealing with people who are addicted to drugs now. I know how hard it is. And that's why you need intervention. There has to be intervention. You got to go to rehab. I'm dealing with family members who are addicted to drugs right now, along with clients and stuff like that. It's a whole nother world, man. It's a whole nother world. And especially... gosh, it's a whole nother world, man. Y'all get the help y'all need. I know a lot of people criticize me on this show and they come over to my Facebook page and they tell me this. Let me tell y'all something. If you don't like what I say, unsubscribe. Don't come bother me. Don't tell me what your pastor say. All right. You tell your pastor to preach at this church. OK, and since y'all got so much power over there, let some of that power permeate throughout the world. Don't come over here telling me that stuff. Oh, well, I don't think you said anything right. Well, all the letters I'm getting telling me I'm saying something right, because obviously the people can't talk to their family members and people in the church, but they'll write Dawson and tell Dawson everything. Grown men old enough to be my daddy writing letters. This is what happened to me. Man, I'm an old man, but you spoke to me, young man. Why they couldn't tell your pastor that? Since you come over and tell me, why they couldn't talk to your pastor? And some of y'all gullible women, let me tell you something while I'm on this topic. You women who sit in the church and you secretly love your pastor and you hate the first lady. And then when the pastor cheats, you want to call everybody's talk show on YouTube and say the pastor cheated with me. You were a whore before you met the pastor and you a whore while you with him. Come on now, it takes two. And that goes for some of you men who doing the same thing. You were a whore too. And that goes for y'all who are sleeping with the pastor in the same sex. Because you know the pastor and the first lady, they struggling with their sexuality. You ain't struggling. I'm out of here, y'all. Y'all take care of yourself. Love, y'all know it's Dawson. I'm not backing down. Y'all know y'all ain't. Come on now. Y'all know I'm not changing on the platform I created. If you can't rock with this, you need to rock on. Because some of y'all just playing games. Y'all really playing games with people's life. And it ain't no struggle. You know what the hell you gonna do and the hell you gonna be, and you bothering people and you wasting that man or that lady time in a relationship when you need to just take your ass down the road and be who you want to be. Hiding in the church. And you could hide because your pastor hide. They do drugs, you do drugs. They tip out, you tip out. Everybody in the church a bunch of whores. So there is no standard. There is no one to hold you accountable. My pastor do it. Everybody in the church do it. We done slept with her. We done slept with him. Come on now. I'm going to be real. And it's going to be raw. And some of y'all ain't going to like it. But somebody has to be a repairer of the breach for the stuff that our mothers and grandparents and great-grandparents didn't do. Things that the former generation should have set in place that were never set in place. So now we got to take the load and we got to handle it. And make sure the ones who are coming behind us don't have to deal with this foolishness where they're sitting in the church dealing with addictions, dealing with being raped, dealing with being in a marriage and the church telling you to stay there because that's your husband, but your husband done brought you back all these diseases, and you listening to these old mothers in the church. They don't have to carry what you carry. You got to carry that disease. You got to carry that virus. And they telling you to stay there with your husband. The hell with them church mothers and your husband. You better make up your mind and live your life. Don't be dumb for nobody. And don't let religion or nothing hold you back. Don't let me hold you back. If this show holding you back, keep going. You free. That's the whole thing I'm trying to get all us to understand, to wake up. You living your life right now. What you doing now, it matters. And some of us are walking around here, you're asleep, lifeless, listless, no will, no want, no desire. And you're letting people lead you. Like I said, the sheep analogy, bad, we dumb, we don't know. Whatever they say at the church, that's where I'm going. Nope. Write the vision and make it plain for your life. I'm out of here. Rest in peace to Bishop Ron Ash and to Zachary Timms. I miss them still to this day, man. And, you know, I just wish, I hope and pray that George Bloomer continues to stay on the right track. And, you know, even though he says he's not doing substance abuse anymore, I still hope he has someone he's accountable to, because with substance abuse, you can have people who are off that mess 5-10 years and there's a trigger and there's a relapse. Y'all, let me know what y'all think about this video. I just felt like talking today. Peace.